I want to talk for a few moments about active listening. How to be an active listener. Now, if you've ever done premarital counseling with me, then you know how I teach this. And if you've ever been married to me, you know how terrible I am at this. Most people think that listening is a passive thing, that listening is doing nothing while you let the other person speak. And do you know how many friendships are broken and how many marriages are ruined because people have that mentality? That's not helpful. When we communicate, when we listen, we have to be active in this. And I would say that our inability to listen well has led to the political and cultural divide of this country, or at least contributed massively towards it. Listening is not doing nothing while letting the other person speak. Listening is an active thing. So let's talk about what we do when we listen with a wise ear, how to listen well, how to be an active listener. So active listening is listening, firstly, to understand. When someone is speaking and you're listening, one of your first things you're doing is that you're listening to try to understand this person. What are they saying? How are they saying it? Why are they saying it? You're listening to understand. Also, the other reason that we listen well and we have an active listening is not just so that we understand, but so that the other person feels understood. Now, here's a couple things that active listening is not. Active listening is not assuming you know what is going to be said. I don't know if you're like me, but if there's times that, me and my wife have friction, we'll call it, she may begin to say something, and I will immediately cut her off and say something like, I know what you're going to say. Apparently me and Kevin are the only ones. That's not active listening. Active listening is not assuming you know what is going to be said. And here's the second one, gentlemen. Active listening is not just waiting to respond. Active listening is not just waiting for your turn to speak. Again, if you've done premarital counseling with me, then you know this exercise. I have the engaged couple sit on the couch, and they face each other, and I instruct one person to share their thoughts or feelings and to be assertive in that, not domineering or not a jerk, but just assertive. Take ownership of what you want. And so they say, I would like this, I want that, I want more of this, I want less of that. One person sharing their thoughts, desires, or opinion. And another person who's listening is to be active listening, actively listening. And this person has a job. And this job is, number one, they need to hear correctly what this person is saying. And so when this person is done speaking, their response is not to immediately give their rebuttal. The first response is to establish that communication has happened. The first job of the active listener is to ensure that they heard this person correctly. So they do that by rephrasing what the person said, not repeating, because anyone can just regurgitate what someone said. You have to rephrase what the person said, which shows that you've internalized it and you understood it. This is also a chance to ask questions and to get clarification, because what you want to do is ensure that you have understood what they said, and you want to make sure that that person feels understood and feels heard. So once that's established, then you can continue to build a conversation. And listen to me, if you think this sounds like clunky in communication, you've just exposed that you're not great at communicating. Because communication is hard, especially in marriage. And so when we communicate, you need to actively listen. What are they saying? Why are they saying that? And when they're done, what you say is, okay, if I heard you correctly, what I think you mean is X, Y, and Z. And then you give that person a chance to confirm and affirm that. Once that's established, then you've done active listening well, and you can continue with the conversation.